Okay, so have you ever seen those ads? The ones that promise you can get like instant insights from your data? Like all you got to do is upload a spreadsheet or something and boom, AI does all the thinking for you.
Right.
It's definitely attention grabbing, especially when you're, knee deep in research data,
Mm,
transcripts, survey results, the whole works.
yeah, it can feel pretty overwhelming.
Totally. And that's exactly the kind of thing we're diving into today. We've got this, well, thought-provoking blog post by Dr. Susanne Friese. She's a bit of a rock star in the qualitative research world.
Oh yeah, I've read some of her stuff. Really insightful.
Right. And she really digs into this whole instant insights thing on her blog on Coludra.
Makes sense though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
qualitative analysis, it's not exactly known for being, quick and easy.
Exactly. It's not like you can just plug it into a formula and get a definitive answer. It takes time and takes careful consideration, real human understanding.
Exactly, because it's not just about finding patterns in the data, right? It's about understanding what's behind those patterns, the why, the context, all of that.
It's the human stories in the data.
Exactly. And that's where things get tricky when we start talking about AI and qualitative analysis. Like AI can definitely be a useful tool, don't get me wrong,
Sure.
but it's not a magician,
Not a magic solution.
right? Dr. Friese actually uses this great analogy in her post. She talks about how AI spitting out data without context. It's like that computer from, what was it, Hitchhiker's Guide.
Deep thought.
Yeah. Deep thought giving you 42 as the answer to like
Right.
the meaning of life, the universe,
Yeah.
everything.
Okay, I see what you mean. It might be technically correct, but without the right question, without understanding what it all means.
It's meaningless.
Exactly.
And the same goes for qualitative data. You need that human element, that expertise, to even know what questions to ask the AI in the first place.
So what you're saying is it's not enough to just have the data and the AI. You need to actually understand the subject matter, the field you're researching.
Exactly. You need that domain knowledge. Otherwise, you're basically flying blind.
And that seems like that could be a recipe for disaster, right? Like what happens if we just blindly trust AI to make sense of this complex, nuanced, qualitative data? Especially if we don't really get it ourselves.
Well, that's when you start seeing those reports. The ones that are full of statistically significant correlations but completely miss the mark in the real world.
The ones that look impressive on a PowerPoint slide.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when you actually try to apply those insights, they fall apart
Hmm.
because they're missing that crucial human understanding.
So it's like the AI might be able to crunch the numbers, so to speak, but without someone there to interpret those numbers, to connect them back to the real world.
You're basically just throwing darts blindfolded.
And hoping for the best.
And that's not a risk you want to take, especially with something as important as research.
It's almost like you get this fancy report, looks all official, but you wouldn't even know if it was.
Missing the point.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like imagine you have this like super fast calculator, this crazy equations, right? But if you don't get the math behind it,
You're just going to get a number, and who knows what it means.
exactly,
Yeah.
could be totally meaningless.
And that kind of brings us back to Dr. Freeze, doesn't it? That whole transparency thing she talks about.
Right, 100%.
Like, it's not enough for these AI tools to just,
Spit out numbers.
Exactly. We got to be able to see how they got there, how the sausage is made.
Exactly. Like lift the hood. Look at the engine.
Right. Like, okay, AI, you're telling me this theme is super important, but show me what data points made you think that.
Exactly. Give me the why. That's how we actually use this stuff.
So it's a two-way street, not just taking the AI's word for it.
It's a partnership. AI augments our abilities, not replaces them.
Right, right. It's like, remember earlier we were talking about those data visualizations?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Where they look all fancy, get shared a million times.
But they're based on, like, nothing.
Exactly. Misleading data, bad interpretations, the works.
It's like everyone's so busy being impressed, they don't stop to think if it even makes sense.
And that's what worries me with AI sometimes.
Gets ahead of itself.
A little bit, yeah. Especially with qualitative stuff. It's still early days.
Right, right. So where does that leave us? Seems like we need to be, I don't know.
Cautious.
Yeah, but also, like, open-minded. Because the potential is huge.
It is. But like any tool, it can be used well or badly.
Yeah.
We got to be smart about it.
So we're like explorers heading into uncharted territory. We've got to be careful not to get lost along the way.
It's a good thing we brought a map. And I think that's what we've been talking about with this whole AI thing, right? There's this amazing potential, but
We got to be smart about it.
exactly. So as we wrap things up, what are some things our listeners should keep in mind as they, start exploring this whole AI and research thing?
Like key takeaways.
Yeah, like first off, don't be afraid to, try out these new AI tools.
Dip your toes in.
Exactly. But, like, always be a little skeptical, right?
Oh, like don't believe the hype.
Right. Ask yourself, okay, what can this tool actually do? What can't it do? And how can I use it to make my research better?
So it's not about replacing what we do.
No, it's about making it better, augmenting it.
And that all comes back to expertise, right? Like the more you know about your field, the better you'll be able to use these tools.
100%. Because at the end of the day, AI is just a tool. It's our job as researchers to use it responsibly, ethically, and in a way that actually advances our understanding.
To tell the human stories behind the data.
Exactly. So yeah, as you dive into the world of AI and research, remember to be curious, be critical, and most importantly, never stop asking questions. And hey, if you find any particularly interesting insights along the way, feel free to share them with us. Until then, happy researching.
And we'll catch you in the next deep dive.